must be true. It was in the paper.
Hmm?
I've heard that saying so much when I was a kid. Back at school, a few of our English language classes were on about critical reading and the
Yeah.
difference between news and
Hmm?
propaganda.
Yeah.
It seems that many didn't take the same class as I did back then and just accept what is put in front of them. Some time ago, I cited an Italian reporter who was fired from Reuters because he was making stories up or making false reports about situations that he was not party to.
Yeah.
And of course, that false narrative was spread around the world as many news publications received their content from these central sources,
Yeah.
like Reuters, like Associated Press, France
Yeah.
Press, and so all this being said, and all this being said, and being biased when it comes to reporting news is certainly nothing new. It's almost to be expected in some, should we say, popular publications. But I was surprised that this practice had reached even some of the broadsheets of the UK press, not necessarily through perpetuating untruths, but by obfuscating information which could lead the reader to reach a conclusion which would not be faithful with the facts.
Yeah.
Right? So let's take a recent example. Uh, Putin is a very bad man, and everything he says must be aggressive and oppressive. Otherwise, he'd be a decent chap, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's so.
Right. Uh, so, but some arms of the media just can't have that. Right? Recently, he was at a meeting in China to do with economics, and at one question and answer session, he was asked about the possibility of European troops being allowed in the Ukraine, with a peace deal being so close and all.
Yeah.
Right? He was asked about that. His reply was simple and direct.
Hmm.
He said, if some troops appear there in Ukraine, especially now during the conflict, we proceed from the fact that these will be legitimate targets for destruction. This is what he said, quote, this was a
Yeah.
quote of his. Now, Putin is for a long time has made no bones about that statement. He's said it many times before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he went on to say, and if decisions are made that lead to peace, to long-term peace, then I simply do not see any sense in their presence on the territory of Ukraine, full stop. There's no need to be there. If it's peaceful, there's no need to be there. But the gutter press didn't see it that way, right? The Washington Post quoted him as saying, any foreign military troops deployed to Ukraine, even for peacekeeping, would be considered targets.
Yeah. I know.
But he didn't say that.
Yeah.
Right? The Financial Times led with the headline: "Foreign troops in Ukraine will be legitimate targets for Russia." The second part of what Putin said was buried 2/3 of the way down, where the majority of readers tend not to look anyway.
Yeah.
Right? No, it's difficult to get someone to read the article complete.
Yeah.
The BBC's headline was, Putin says that EU troops in Ukraine will be legitimate targets, without mentioning the during military operations. Right? Even The Guardian got in on the act and said Putin threatens Western troops in Ukraine, once again forgetting to mention the during the conflict part of the argument.
Yeah.
Now, once again, I'm not a Putin fan.
No.
Right? But we have to call out when somebody's trying to tackle the man and not the ball. Right? I must say that the Financial Times and the Guardian were pulled up because of this lack of candor. You know, this is why I mentioned them.
Yeah.
You know, and the BBC, I mean, I understand they have more fish to fry with their drug-taking, sexually deviant staff, but even so, inaccurate reporting cannot be admitted.
Yeah.
Especially as it operates under the public purse.
Mm.
And the Washington Post, well,
Okay.
we've seen that they will stop at nothing to twist the story round to make black white or to make a square peg fit into a
Yeah.
round hole.
Okay.
I've already given up on them, to be honest. To be quite honest
Well,
with you.
I hardly ever read them before, and certainly don't now. Yes.
Off you go. What you got to say about that little lot?
Well, okay. Yeah. I mean,
That seems
headline.
more of an opinion piece rather than a headline. But I had to read the headlines to fit the whole opinion piece together. So I'm still scrubbing the web.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, with doing a headline, as we know, when well, in admittance, normally you come up with the headline blur for us. Yeah. It's something that catches the eye, but it's not remote from what the context is. And then when we write the thing underneath, we make an editorial decision of what to actually put. We certainly don't twist anything, but yeah, it's what do they call it? Clickbait is the new
Tease.
term we use.
The tease. A tease.
It is, yeah, yeah.
A tease.
Huh?
A tease. Not a tit.
a
A
tease,
tease.
a tease,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of what is it? I remember when I was at school, there was problems with my school with a certain engineering issue when they did something about the environment and pumping some stuff urea formaldehyde in the school. Yeah. And apparently my headmaster was a bit annoyed at the local. I remember this at the local rag because it quoted or it said something that was totally yeah, totally not true, really. Yeah. And misfact. Yeah. Or but it sells newspapers and it's on the front page, and it was a big news story at the time. And yeah, there's all sorts of political shenanigans going on with it, etc., etc. I mean, yeah, it's the way the school was funded, and the council shouldn't have gone in and done what they did, and how they got right to do it, or this missold it. But it doesn't matter. That it was about it was a total misquote. A bit like what you said, yeah. The headmaster said this. No, he did. He said something in context, yeah. And headmasters are not politicians either. They're teachers who know they're teaching and manage staff. That's really what their job is. Yeah. Um, they're doing a bit of a course on how to do a bit of this bookkeeping, but that's it really. Yeah. Um, Ultimately, yeah, this is what newspapers do. They've always done it during wars, etc. Now,
Yep, of course.
yeah. Now
But that's propaganda.
Yeah, propaganda.
This is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Now,
one should be giving news, and the other one is propaganda, and we
yeah,
should be able to discern
yeah.
which is which. And
Well,
the two are starting to blend with each other.
yeah. Now, I read a story about espionage or books about espionage during World War II, and um, the newspapers used to pride themselves on not actually telling falsehoods, even for propaganda reasons. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I remember Dowding's famous comment over, the elevated, um, the elevated scores, killings of craft, etc. Yeah, and as Dowding said, if we're right, we've got nothing to worry about. If they're wrong, Hitler will be in power in the Mao in a week. Yeah, sort of thing was the statement, paraphrasing. Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, we soon find out one way or another what's true, what's false. In today's world, we've all got so much open access to information that governments can't do propaganda anymore. I mean, I don't know what the press is like in Russia. Maybe if we've got any Russian people, they can tell us. Yeah. Maybe they do the same game sometimes.
Well, I mean, in Russia, you got the Pravda, right,
Yeah.
which we know is a propaganda
Yeah.
piece. We've got Russia Today,
Mm.
which is it's not necessarily pro-Russian,
Mm,
but they tend to be more factual rather
yeah,
than anything else. Then of
yeah,
course you've got Sputnik,
yeah.
which is a little bit more pro-Russian.
Mm, not
You know, so
pro-Trump.
they've got their propagandists as well. But I'm talking about mainstream press,
Well,
and I'm surprised that this manipulation of the truth or obfuscation of the truth has reached such heights as the Financial Times and the Guardian.
well, let's be honest. Prior to the war starting in Ukraine, we were already witnessing it. We've probably been witnessing it for the best part of the past 8 years with different bits of um, information that affect our own
Yeah,
personal lives. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and when the news, I mean, and if any individual journalists questioned what was being told to them by the government, they're being ostracized and called all sorts of names. Yeah. Um, asking the wrong questions, and shut down. Even there, and probably threats being put. Well, we know threats were being put on social media outlets who are still news distributors. Yeah. No, I'm not surprised at all. Um, there does appear to be. It's not. It's not necessarily with governments. It's with big business corporations. Yeah, who owns the newspapers? Who pays for them to put the ink on the newspapers? What particular two companies own everything in the world? Who benefits from a war continuing, hostilities against Russia? Yeah, there's a whole industry behind it. Yeah, and that's obvious. I mean, I'm not quoting anything that hasn't been said. Um, and you've only got to go online. Who owns which newspapers or media outlets? Yeah, forget the BBC. We know what the BBC is all about now. Um, the, go out there and look who owns the Financial Times or the Times. There are two particular companies that the might even be 2 or 3%, but they're in there. You don't need to look very hard to see where the agendas might be coming from. It's not. It's just more the
well,
conspiracy theory. Yeah.
that,
Um,
it looks to me that the reader has got to look for two sources. At one time, at one age, a long time ago, you just need to have one source of information because they used to give you the facts, very much like RT does these days.
yeah.
They give you a fact, 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 fact,
Mm.
and then you make up your own mind. People
Well,
say that it's heavily Russian, but it isn't.
yeah. I mean, okay, I read it, and yeah, and it's been proven right on more times. It's been proven wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I rate it on. Um, like I say, you read it more than I do. I have a quick scan through on what's happening. I mean, there are now some sites, some of them paid for, others free, or they have their free introduction things and all that, where they do this waiting. Yeah, well, not waiting, where you go in there and you can see the headlines, you can see,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and it makes a rather interesting. Well, let's put it this way: if you look at these sites, you never believe anything you read on the internet anymore at first glance. Yeah. Um, we all know that if you do a search on the internet, and I'm changing the subject slightly, but it's still relevant, given that I found this, that I've put a search on something and found the first 2 pages of items were, if you like, the narrative. Yeah. And then you go the third, fourth, or fifth page, and like you say, you get the additional information actually in the headline, as it were. Um, and again, yeah, I'm suspicious of all these things collectively with AI that does seem to be weighted. I'm not saying it is or isn't.
Oh yeah, I mean that was quite obvious when Chat GPT set off
Mm,
and they said make up a poem about Donald Trump,
yeah,
and they said we can't do that, and then make one up about Joe Biden, and away
yeah,
it went.
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
Okay, that's an example of it. It is, and people were finding this, and it's
But
a
it's quick. But then it's quick. It's quick to understand
mm,
that ChatGPT isn't worth all that much because it's only worth as much as what the people are who program it.
yeah, yeah, and who pays them?
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I mean, I'm very. I mean, again, it's improving. It's new technology. Anyone that relies on ChatGPT or these things as their main source, yeah. Um, the thing is, a lot of us, and I'd say this, the problem is why MSN still has a hold, as it were, is because a lot of people they're not in the privileged position we are, where we have time to go and have a look at things on the internet and everything else. They got to worry about going to work, traveling to work,
of
going to do
course,
their job, go home. Yeah.
of course. Which is why it disturbed me about the Financial Times
Mm,
and the Guardian.
mm.
You know, the only thing I can sort of conclude this little lot is that, you know, the Financial Times readers and the Guardian readers are going to have to buy two newspapers, you know, with different points of view to get a bit closer to the truth of the crux of the matter than
Well,
the headline.
well, that's always the same by the Telegraph and the Guardian to get a balanced view. But you read them. I mean, I know people used to read the Guardian, although they should be Telegraph readers to actually get an alternative opinion or view on the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. Um, it's been highlight. It's being highlighted more and more in what we're seeing around all the time. Yeah, and I do agree with you. Putin's not a nice guy, really. He was head of the KGB, but he probably knows things about our own governments that we don't know. So, yeah,
He actually probably is a nice guy. Donald Trump said he's a nice guy.
yeah.
So, you
Well, I mean, Donald Trump tries to be nice to everyone.
know.
He wants to be cordial with everyone.
And if I met Putin, I'd try to be nice to him as well.
Mm. If you're not, don't stand near any high windows
There you
anyway.
are.